it's Hannah. Welcome to a new writing vlog. Today I get to finish up a chapter! Yay! And I'm actually like super impressed with myself. I tend to be an underwriter, like full on. I just underwrite everything. And I wonder if it's because I choose first person narrative. I'm not sure. But I was just looking between my two different drafts today, and in my third person variation of this project, where I'm at now, I was on page 18 at the end of this chapter. And where I just have, the last 2 or 3 paragraphs. In my new first person draft, I am currently on page 23. So I've managed to add a few words, and I think those few words have been really good and impactful and helped carry the story forward. So yeah, I'm excited to see where things go. I also had kind of an epiphany this morning. I don't know if I want to call it an epiphany, but I thought this morning, because my middle, looking forward, I do know that my middle tends to sag a little bit. I know how the story starts and how the story ends, but the middle sags, and I think that's partially at fault. I can partially blame that fault on the fairy tale I'm basing it on, because it has just kind of one of those weird convoluted middles that you're like, what? So yeah, I think I figured out a way to fix it, but it would cause me to actually have to write 2 books and make it a series rather than just a standalone book. I don't know how I feel about it. So I think what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just treat it all as 1 book for now, and then if it's too long, then I think it'll be a little easier to split into 2 books. Hi. You can go around. So, I just lost my train of thought. But yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I don't know if I'll split it into 2 books yet for sure. I'm kind of leaning that way, but I'm gonna write it all as 1 book first and see if I can write it in a way that it can be just 1 book. But the more that I think about the story, the less I think that can actually be done. It's just what it is. I don't know if I can fix that sagging middle without making it a duology. So I don't know, but I'm not there yet, so I shouldn't ponder about it too much. So let's get started writing. I'll finish up this chapter and then start putting notes into my story Bible, which is going to be extra important now where I'm kind of in this in-between of 1 book or 2 books. Okay, so let's get going. So, learned a lesson. And I feel like I hear this all the time in writing, but I maybe didn't always understand it, but kind of the less is more. So, as I have mentioned in an earlier video, my antagonist is supposed to be kind of really creepy. He's like a worse version of Gaston. And originally in this chapter, I had 3 different actions he had done to kind of show his creepiness. And I decided to take out 2 of them because I didn't like how he was being played as kind of the bumbling, dumb person. I genuinely believe he's actually quite intelligent. So I took out 2 of those actions, well, like more like 1.5, and combined the other half into some dialogue that was supposed to be kind of that creepier, establishing the antagonist dialogue, and it really gave it so much more of a punch and an impact. Like, my own writing is making me want to throw up because of how disgusting this person is. So, yeah, sometimes genuinely less is more. Because I really don't feel like it had that same impact in the previous draft. I felt like it was just playing off of he has no idea what the crap he's doing. But in this one, it's very clear that he has some very not good intentions, some very bad intentions. So yeah, it's disgusting, but I love it, but I hate it. It's all good. It's all part of the life of being a writer. With that being said, I actually wrote almost a whole nother page instead of just like 2 or 3 paragraphs, but again, it strengthened the chapter. So, in case you're wondering, I've written 2 chapters, and that has given me a word count of 6,310. So that's pretty good. I feel pretty happy with that. That means each chapter is approximately 3,000, which makes the chapters feel readable but not overbearing, if that makes sense. I have a hard time with really long chapters. I find it really hard, especially because I live a life where I can't always just sit down and binge read. I feel like it's a good length that they're short enough that you can binge read them if you want, but they're also short enough that if you can't binge read, you have some pretty clear idea of when the chapters are going to end so that you can stop and pick up at another time. So that makes me happy. So yeah, now I will start working on the story Bible. I did go over it a little earlier just to make sure that I'm kind of on track with my plot and that I fulfilled what I wanted these scenes to do, and I feel like I have, so I just need to go through and write down the information about my protagonist and antagonist that we learned in this chapter. So let's get going. Do you ever just find a side character that you just love? Like, just dearly love? Because I think I know the side character that I just dearly love with all of my heart. And that is the protagonist, Butler. He is just like the sweetest person ever, and is the father that the protagonist deserves, okay? Like, legit. He's way more of a father than her actual father. Yeah, actually starting to reread this chapter, especially if you remember a few days ago, I was trying to write a letter from the protagonist's parent, I might as well just say mom, the protagonist's mom, to the protagonist. As I was reading over that again, I definitely realized that yes, this book is going to have to be split into 2 books. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I mean, like, I do, but I don't. But I do. You know? I'm sure some of you have had this struggle before. So yeah, I think... I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Because originally when I was plotting this story... Let me go back up here. I had separated it into 3 acts, kind of 3 parts. So I don't... I don't know how I'm going to split those 3 parts into 2 parts instead, and then have 3 parts within them. Because yeah, with splitting it into 2 books, I now have a lot more chapters and stuff. But I really think it will pay off doing it this way. So I don't know what I'll do. I think... I don't know, I'll have to ponder. Kind of while I'm finishing up my storyboarding for the 2nd chapter that I just did, I guess I'll ponder on how to best split this book in 2 now. I think I will still originally just write it as one big book and split it into 2 parts and then have like 3 parts in each kind of a thing. I think that's kind of what I'm going to do. But that's going to take a ton more plotting. Yay, plotting! But I feel like the plotting will pay off in keeping me motivated and going. Because as much as I love pantsing, it does also makes me falter a little bit. And not keep to my writing habits as closely, and I want to develop it so that even when I have a project that I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm just going to pants the whole thing, then I already have that habit established and in place to do so. So I don't know, I'm just kind of mumbling and trying to convince myself at this point. What have you guys done? Tell me in the comments, what have you done when you realize that a book that you have written requires more than 1 book to tell the story? I would like to hear your suggestions. So yeah, I guess this is where I will finish up for today, and I will see you guys tomorrow, okay? Bye!